Everyone's so quiet. Hi, everybody.
We're waiting for your words of wisdom.
Oh, boy. You're going to be waiting a while. I'd like to hear some words of wisdom, too. Sounds great.
What
Okay.
words of wisdom can I give you?
All right. I'm not seeing it, but we can just get started. Yeah. Okay, we good? All right, well then, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Sounds like we're all ready to start. It's great to see you all. Welcome back to TBS. We're going to begin, so we usually begin with Hine Matov, this prayer of welcome, how good it is that we are all here together this evening, but we're actually going to begin with a new melody. We learned it in Sunday school this past Sunday, but I don't think many of you were in Sunday school, maybe a few. So we are going to learn this new melody now here in our congregation, which is very exciting. So I'm going to turn it over to Gail. Please sing with us.
This melody is by Alana Arian, and we're going to start doing some of her things because she is just a wonderful composer. I'm going to sing the first part for you. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yad. My turn. Hine matov, your turn.
Hine matov.
My turn. Umanayim, your turn.
Umanayim.
Shevet achim gam yahad.
Shevet achim gam yahad.
My turn. Hine matov.
Hine matov.
Umanayim.
Umanayim.
Shevet achim gam yahad.
Shevet achim gam yahad.
Let's do it together. Here we go. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yahad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yahad. My turn. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
To be together on this day. Your turn. To be together on this day. My turn. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
To be together on this day. To be together on this day. Now, the how good it is part really is a call and response. My turn. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet
together.
it is.
To be together on this day. My turn. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
Together. To be together on this day. From the beginning together. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yahad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yahad. My turn. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
To be together on this day. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
To be together on this day. From the beginning. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yahad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yahad. The coda, the ending. Shevet achim gam yahad. One more time. Shevet achim gam yahad. Okay. Thank you for doing that.
That was fun. Some applause. It's always fun to learn a new melody, and that allows us to maybe think about the prayer in a different way, to think about our gratitude in a different way. So we're excited to continue to learn that one and sing it more often. And for now, we'll actualize that prayer of welcome and take an opportunity to welcome each other. So if you'd like to turn to maybe the person you came with, or maybe someone who you haven't seen before or haven't seen in a while, let's all take a moment to welcome each other and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. I'd now like to invite up Barry to help us light our Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
I'd like to invite you to please join with me up here on our slide. The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded, in everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, striving for you. We'll continue welcoming Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. Please keep on singing with us.
Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. 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 Shemo v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishianu Rachamecha, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet l'kili la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Ligrat Shabbat l'chuvanecha, ki makor habaracha, merosh mikadem nesucha, sov ma'aseh b'machshavati la 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 hadodi, ligrat kala, b'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, ligrat kala, b'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Hidorari, kiva ori, kumi ori, shir daberi, kavod Adonai alanak, na la 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 hadodi, ligrat kala, b'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, ligrat kala, b'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
We rise and face the entrance.
Bo Eva Shalom, Ateret Ba'ala, Gam B'Siha U'V'Tzala, Tokemoni Am Segula, Ba'ihala, Lecha Dodi, ligrat kala, b'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, ligrat kala, b'nei
You may be seated. You're welcome to join with me with this reading. We offer thanks. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in the darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We take a moment for gratitude that we are here, gratitude for this moment, and for this 24 hours of Shabbat of rest and relaxation and restoration, whatever you may need from it. We'll continue singing together with Baruch Hu, our call to prayer. I invite you, if you're able, to please rise. You may be seated, and we'll continue with our prayer for creation, for the bringing on of the evening, Ma'ariv Aravim. Please join me, if you would like, in the Hebrew first, and then the English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, bamishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. You are the creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzivaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. And we'll continue with this special version of Shema. Listen.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen, listen to our God. Listen, listen to our Baruch Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malachuto Le'olam V'ad. Listen, listen to our God. Listen, listen to our God.
We'll continue singing together with Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech v'shochbecha u'kumecha ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We now approach our Micha Mocha prayer, and we'll talk about this a little later, but we are actually in our Torah cycle. We're reading the Exodus from Egypt, and that's actually this week's Torah portion, the final plagues and the literal Exodus from Egypt under the cover of darkness. We're not at the parting of the sea yet, but we can still recall that joy and that gratitude and perhaps reflect on what kind of freedom may we also need in our own lives, whether that's some kind of inner freedom, or maybe there is some form of change that we may wish to see and be a part of in the world. Or maybe there's just something you're grateful for, and we want to maybe attach some of that joy to that as well. So we'll sing together with however you may want to use that intention for Micha Mocha. We'll sing as a community just as our ancestors did through the Sea of Reeds. Please join us.
Ready? Lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 la, 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 lie. Lie, lie, la, 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 lie, lie. Lie, la, lie. Lie, lie, la, la, lie. Lie, la, lie, lie. La, 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 lie. Micha mocha la'ilim Adonai. Micha nocha ne'edar b'kodesh. Norah tehilo lo seifela. Norah tehilo lo seifela. Malachutecha tra'u lefanecha bokeh hayom v'leinu shah za'eli anu ve'amaru za'eli anu ve'amaru Adonai yimrod le'olam va'ed Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la
We'll continue singing our way through our service here next with Hashkivenu as we pray for a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace to spread over us and our community and the world. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu shomreinu l'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomacha Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomacha Hashkevenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu shomreinu
As we now move into the Amidah, our standing prayers, starting with Adonai Sifatai, I'd like to invite you once again, if you're able, to please rise.
Adonai Sefatai tiftachu fi yagita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hastei Avot Imot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Le'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מחלקי חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, בחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחולך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You can have a seat and we'll continue with a few moments of silent prayer. If you have a prayer book, you can use pages 54 through 60 or your own words.
Shalom, shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Uya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, uya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'akol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'akol Yisrael, amen.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So as I mentioned earlier in our service, we are in the midst of retelling the Exodus story in our Torah portion cycle. And you are probably familiar with this story, whether it's from growing up around a Seder table, or maybe you're a fan of the Ten Commandments, or maybe if you're like me, you're a fan of the Prince of Egypt. So however you imagine this story, we've retold the story of Moses, how he was rescued from the Nile by the daughter of Pharaoh, his encounter with God at the burning bush, demanding to let my people go before Pharaoh, of course, does not get a good answer there, and we see the 10 plagues. And like I mentioned in this week, we see the Exodus from Egypt itself. But before all of that, there's an inspiring scene that doesn't often make it to our Seders. And that is the story going all the way back to the beginning, when Pharaoh decrees all baby boys, all Hebrew baby boys, should be killed. There are two women who openly defy him, and their names are Shiphrah and Puah. They are these two midwives for the Hebrews, but it's unclear if these women themselves are Israelites or if they are Egyptian midwives who have been tasked with this job. So after this decree, the women still help deliver babies, and they let them live if they are boys. When Pharaoh expresses his anger to the midwives, these women then lie to his face, saying with one voice that the Israelite women give birth too quickly for them to stop them. And they trust that Pharaoh doesn't really have a working knowledge of how childbirth works. And they're right. They kind of call his bluff, and their defiance works. So how is it possible, though, that Shiphrah and Puah were only the two midwives for such a big community of the Israelite people? So there are several different ideas from modern biblical scholarship. Some folks believe that Shiphrah and Puah were indeed the only two midwives, and maybe it makes sense that as an enslaved people, they weren't given many resources, and that was all they were allowed to have, were these two women. It's also possible that Shiphrah and Puah were leaders of a guild of midwives. So perhaps they approached Pharaoh as these representatives, but they actually represented many other women, many other midwives who were in on this revolt. Now, there's also a third option, according to our scholars. It's possible that Shiphrah and Puah were acting on their own, unlike everybody else. Maybe all of the other midwives were fulfilling Pharaoh's decree, except for Shiphrah and Puah. Maybe they were the lone voices of courage defying Pharaoh and therefore risking their lives. But in doing so, they saved the lives of many children, including Moses. And we could even say that it's because of them that the Exodus story was able to even happen. It's thanks to Shiphrah and Puah. This is reminiscent of a line from Pirkei Avot, a collection of wise sayings from the Talmud. It goes like this: in a place where there is no human being, strive to be a human being. Perhaps this idea is timely, as today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Of course, today we commemorate all who lost their lives during the Holocaust, and we also remember the bravery of people who risked and perhaps also lost their lives, who fulfilled that line from Pirkei Avot, who indeed were human beings at a time when dehumanization was at its most horrific and grotesque. We also think of those who defied the Nazis and rejected their hatred even when they themselves were not direct targets and could have kept themselves safe, but instead put themselves on the line in order to save other people. And in light of Shiphrah and Puah, perhaps we can also especially remember Janusz Korczak, who ran the children's orphanage in Warsaw, and Freddie Hirsch, who improved conditions for hundreds of children at Auschwitz, both of whom risked their lives and who saved the lives of children. We know who many of these heroes were, but many of them remain unknown and will always be forgotten to history. But we can know, perhaps, that they didn't do it for the fame or the recognition. They did these acts of bravery just because it was the right thing to do. Back to our Torah cycle, in this week's portion, the Israelites escape Egypt under the cover of night. We learn from our text that it's not just the Israelites who escape, but a mixed multitude who join the Israelites, perhaps some Egyptians as well. I like to imagine that Shiphrah and Puah were among them. And as soon as the people leave, as soon as the Israelites separate from the Egyptians, God says, "There shall be one law for the citizen and for the stranger who dwells among you." So the moment that we become an independent, free people, the moment that we are separated, this is the first and perhaps one of the most important reminders. Even for those who are not Israelites but who dwell in the community, they must be treated the same. There must be one law for everyone. And the Torah goes on to repeat 36 times, double high if you're counting life twice, that the Israelites must love the stranger, often with the reminder that we too were once strangers in the land of Egypt. And Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory taught that the Israelites perhaps could be the very first people to create laws of equality for minority citizens. So we may never be in the same situation as the righteous Gentiles of the Holocaust or the Hebrew midwives, but it can feel at times like there's too much broken in our world, and that can drive us to apathy and a feeling of defeat. But as I shared a few months ago in my Rosh Hashanah sermon, I know that was a while ago, that a small gesture can make a really big difference in another person's life without us even knowing it. As many of you shared with me while I prepared for that sermon, a simple note of appreciation, a compliment, or a small gesture of kindness can turn someone's day around. It can really make an impact. So perhaps this Shabbat we can consider how we can bring more of that goodness and kindness into the world. There are always food pantries in need of restocking. There is a shortage of blood, so if you're able to give blood, giving a blood donation can save someone's life in need of a transplant. There are clothing donations drives for folks who are in need of winter clothing. And if you're interested in perhaps that involvement taking place here at Temple Beth Shalom, we would love to have more members be part of our caring committee. So these are folks who help make a direct impact of those of us in our community who are in need of support, like a ride or a meal. And also, we would love some more members in our bread group, our bread organization. Well, we're part of the bread organization, which is a coalition of 42 other churches and synagogues, and we work on specific issues to help make Columbus a better place for all of us. So these are just two ways through TBS that you can help us make our community a better place. And as we recall the creation of the Israelite people in this week's Torah portion, we can also reflect on the beautiful diversity of our Jewish people with a lot of pride, as well as the great adversities that we have overcome throughout the centuries. We can be very proud as well of the teachings that remind us that the essence of being Jewish is to be a good citizen in the world, that in a place where there is no human being, to strive to be a human being, especially towards those who are different from us, and especially when no one is watching. May we also be inspired to be that goodness in our lives and in the world. Shabbat Shalom. As we turn now to our Misha Beirach prayer, we can think of those in our lives who are in need of healing, and we can perhaps reflect on the fact that when we are in need of that healing, that can be a very isolating experience. We can often feel alone, and so that feeling of someone reaching out to us, to someone who is in need of healing, that can really, really impact someone. That can really make a difference. So we'll read these names, add any names of folks who you're thinking of, and then perhaps we can turn this prayer into action after our service with a text or a call or a hug. So this evening we are thinking of Marilyn Altman, Lynn Adams, Susan Bader, Sarah Bates, Deborah Belford, Barbara Belford, Brandon Berman, Marjorie Block, Barbara Bobinich, Paul Branson, Dan Kristen, Marge Serrani, Dorothy Collins, Lily Kovitz, Adrian Crawford, Gary Dicker, Tony Diegler, Ella Dubrow, Carrie Ebert, Sylvia Eckstein, Elaine Ellick, Nancy Emmerman, Rachel Ensign, Michael Fiorelli, Rachel Fish, Olivia Glick, Ken Goldman, Rachel Goldman Mosley, Gladys Goodman, Jimmy Green, David Haas, David Hirsch, Barbara Hochberg, Laura Johnson, Katie Jones, Jamie Grace Cash, John Kerr, Peter Levy, Barb Lucas, Fred Martin, Minna Melton, Caleb Moses, Susan Northrup, Robert Oakley, Nick Parisi, Marvin Pate. We're thinking of Merle Perlow, Aaron Phelan, Ian Phillips, Rashi Prestowski, Jessica Rathkopf, William J. Rees, Barry Richmond, Emma Rose, Irving Rose, Phyllis Roatman, Steve Rubenstein, June Sahara, Rolf Sauer, Don Schneer and Steve Schneer, Aminadav Sella, Karen Silverman, Sherry Silverman, Yehudit Bat Simcha, Richard Schur, Jonah Snyder, Ronald Solomon, Ruth Ann Stewart, Pam Storar, Lou Supowitz, Joyce Schwartzman, Andrea Tuber, Randy Cohen-Weinstock, Dale Winograd, and Shelley Zimmerman. And anyone else whose names you would like to add, you're welcome to do so at this time. Thanks, Scott. Any other names? Okay. For each of them and for all of those who are in need of healing, we'll sing Misha Berach together.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor Abraham Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And let us say
We'll begin concluding our service first with Aleinu L'Shabeach. I invite you, if you are able, to please rise.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Teit Gedulo Yotzei Bereshit, Shelo Asanu K'goyei Haratzot, Velo Samanu K'mishpachot Ha'adama, Shelo Sam Chalkeinu Kahem, V'gor Aleinu K'chol Hamonam, V'anachnu Korim, U'mishtachavim U'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bayom Hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, U'Shemo, Echad.
We remain standing as we turn our thoughts to stars up above, so far away, we only see their light long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. On this Holocaust Remembrance Day, we are also drawing into our hearts all of those millions who were lost in the Holocaust, and we're also thinking of all those who were lost to gun violence over this past week. In our community this evening, we're remembering those whom we've lost within the last 30 days and observing Shlushim. We remember Annie Arbitman Allen, Mitch Molinoff, Paul Noor, Kurt Schaefer, and Al Moses. We're also recalling with love those who we've lost at this season in years past and are remembering for Yahrzeit. We remember Henry Applebaum, Paul Bernard, Sally Blatt, Stephen Bloom, Leo Boudin, Mildred Boudin, Naomi Boudin, Archie Kaplan, Joyce Edheimer, Mark Feldman, Joseph Goldenberg, Margaret Hirschfeld, Herman Katz, Sanford Koppelman, Susan Cutel, David Lynn Sr., Ethel Masser, Mel Mermelstein, Marvin Morris, Emil Pabian, Manny Rice, Herb Rosen, Edward Schneer, Malcolm Schwartz, David Shapiro, Bruce Siegel, Fred Simon, Lee Singer, Cecilia Snyder, Willie Walter, and A. Weiler. We're also recalling anyone who you would like to wish to name at this time. For each of them, and for those who are a blessing to humanity, for those who have no one left to say Kaddish for them, we'll recite together. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divarach Yerute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mivarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shemei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom v'romav Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. Amen. You may be seated. I'd like to invite up Bobby for some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope all of you had a wonderful week. Sorry, give me 1 second. I think I'm making it worse. Okay. Please join us after services in the mezzanine for a light oneg. And we sent out an email today that highlights 2 really exciting events that are coming up over the course of the next 2 Fridays and weekends. Next Friday, we're not going to be streaming. We're going to be here in the building at 6:30, so this is February 3rd, for a Tu B'Shvat Seder. If you've never experienced a Tu B'Shvat Seder, you should come. It's going to be a different experience, and it'll be followed by men's club dinner, traditional Shabbat dinner, $12 for adults, $7 for kids. And we need RSVPs for account for dinner by close of business this upcoming Wednesday. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And then also in the email today, we had a big splash in the email highlighting what's going to be going on the weekend of February 10th. We are pleased to welcome back Dan Nichols for the 3rd year in a row. If you don't know who Dan Nichols is, he is the preeminent, if not one of the preeminent Jewish musicians in North America. He makes the Reformed Jewish Camp Tour every summer, and he's been doing this for 20 plus years, and he's amazing. We've had a lot of fun with him the past 2 years, and this is the most time we're going to have with him since we've kind of started to bring him to New Albany. So we're going to have a lot of fun on February 10th with a really rousing musical Shabbat service. Then the kids are going to have some fun with the Tot Shabbat on Saturday morning, the 11th. And then 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, the 11th, there's going to be a kind of a meditative, quieter Havdalah, kind of in a camp-style environment, sing-along. And then we're going to have some fun on the 12th at religious school. So all of the details are in today's email, and we'll continue to share this over the course of the next couple of weeks. But if you have any questions, please let us know. The link is in there to RSVP. I hope you can join us because it's going to be a really special weekend. For all of these events and more, please check out the window, the e-window, and give us a call if you need anything. With that, Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for making TBS your Jewish home. Rabbi?
Thanks, Bobby. Lots of exciting stuff coming up. We're going to continue with our closing song, Lechi Lach.
will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lachilach. Lachilach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha. And all shall praise your name. Lachilach. To a place that I will show you. L'simcha chayim, l'simcha chayim, l'simcha chayim, lachilach. And you shall be a blessing, and you are a blessing. You shall be a blessing, lachilach.
We'll close tonight with Kiddush and Motzi, and I'd like to invite Tracy and Matthew. You guys still up for it? Okay. I won't be mad that you're giving me the honor of drinking the Manischewitz.
It's
all good. It's all good. Oh, okay, great. Okay, just a little bit? Okay. Is that all right? Okay, great. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
Nope. I appreciate you taking it for me. It's okay, this will be much better. No, not a fan. All right, we'll get to Paula instead. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Go for it, you earned it. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Come on up and
Shabbat
grab
shalom.